Hello friends, and welcome back to another travel vlog. So today I am going to take you to the Nandankanan Zoological Park, which is in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and this is the way towards the park. And while we go over there, I am going to tell you a little bit about this zoological park. This park is a 437 hectare zoo and botanical garden which was established in the year 1960, and it was opened to public in the year 1979, and this is located in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, India. And this is also the first zoo in India to join the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums in the year 2009. Nandankanan literally means the Garden of Heavens, and it includes the Chandaka forest and about 54 hectares of the Kanjia lake. And over here what I am showing you is the multi-story car parking, which is another addition to the zoo. So I am also going to take you inside this multi-story car park. Earlier there was just an open ground where we used to park our vehicles, but after this development it has become really easy to safely park our vehicles. And we had gone to this zoo on the 31st of December 2022. So it was that time of the year when most of the people had come to visit the zoo. Even I found school children, college children, they had come in the uniforms also. Some tour was happening for them. The school buses were filled with children and they had also come. So the zoo was quite packed with people, and also the parking was pretty much filled up, so we couldn't find any parking space in the covered area. So we had to take our vehicle up till the open terrace and we had to do the rooftop parking. The parking was so filled up with vehicles. So anyway, this was also an interesting thing to see the inside of the multi-story parking. And this is a really good facility because earlier there used to be issues with parking, and now there is a lot of space to park our vehicles. So after parking our car, we walked a short distance. It is just like opposite to the zoo, and we entered the zoo. And before we can enter, actually we have to buy the tickets. So let me tell you about the pricing of the tickets and the timing of the zoo. The opening and closing timings vary depending upon the month, and it is from 7:30 am to 5:30 pm between the months of April and September. And during the winters, that is from October to March, the zoo opens at 8 am and it is opened till 5 pm only. And it remains closed every Monday throughout the year. And the same thing goes for the Botanical Park also. It follows the same timings. So this is the entry point of the zoo. Over here we can buy our tickets if we have not bought it online. So my husband went to buy the ticket, and let me tell you about the pricing also. We stayed out because there was a lot of crowd inside the ticket area and it was quite suffocating. So we stood out while my husband went to buy the tickets. And the price of ticket is rupees 50 for a person above 12 years, and for kids between 3 to 12 years, now this is the ticket, the price is rupees 10, and for a foreign national it is rupees 100. For kids below 3 years it is free, and you can go inside the park and you can also buy ticket if you wish to do the tourist safari, or if you wish to sit in the toy train, etc., or if you wish to go for boating. So there is a separate ticket for that, and you get to buy it from inside the park itself. And for those people who are unable to walk, there is the battery operated vehicles, and the charge is rupees 80 per head. So before going to the zoo, my daughter told us to go and visit the museum. So this is the museum where you can see all these animals have been kept, the stuffed animals. And these animals were most probably from the zoo itself. And over here you can see the white tiger also. And there were also some specimens kept in bottles and some eggs. And that was really interesting to watch. This one is the white tiger. And these are some specimens kept in bottles. Most of them are like the fetuses, and there are some eggs also of various birds because this zoo also has a bird aviary, that is an open bird aviary is also there, which is the best place for me in this zoo because I really like that area a lot. So this is the museum which you can go to just as you enter into the zoo. Seeing these specimens in the museum, we get to know how many species of animals are there in this zoo and how big this zoo is. Actually, this zoological park is home to a large variety of animals which had been imported from various parts of the world. It has more than 150 different species of animals and mammals like elephants, lion, tigers, giraffe, white tigers, along with various birds. And the reptile area includes crocodiles, snakes, turtles, and there is a separate area where snakes are kept. This time I missed out the snake enclosure because it was jam-packed with people, and the first enclosure that I went to is this walk-through aviary. This is an area in which the birds are left open, and this whole area is covered by a net and the birds are free to fly around, and I really loved this place. You can see how beautifully it has been maintained. There were waterfalls and other things for the birds to enjoy. And the birds were free to fly off anywhere. They were sitting mostly on the trees because it was a little bit sunny on the day that we had gone. It was already like the daytime by the time we reached the park. And I really loved this place. There were so many peacocks just walking around, and there was a lot of facility for the birds, and the birds also seemed to be enjoying this open area. There were many birds in the enclosures outside also, but since they were in the cages, I didn't record many of them because it was really difficult to capture the birds from within the wire mesh. But this area was really nice, and it was so peaceful and calming, and you could hear the sound of the birds and the flowing of the water, and it was a really relaxing experience. Over here you can see white peacock, even the colorful peacocks, and they are like totally relaxed. They are not like too much frightened of the people over here, and different things were made for the birds to sit and to drink from. And I really like this, the way that this area was created. There were little ponds where the birds could take a dip. Nandankanan Zoo actually includes the Chandaka forest and about 54 hectares of the Kanjia lake where the boating facility etc. are there. So this zoo is actually really nice for having a walk because there are trees everywhere. There is so much of shade everywhere. You don't actually feel the scorching sun on your body because it is so much nicely covered with trees almost everywhere. Over here you can see this is a peacock or peahen something, and birds are sitting over there on top. This is the place that I really enjoyed, and this is the exit, and near the door there were iron chains kept so that we could enter and leave, but the birds could not. So after this, when I went out, I saw this vulture over here. These birds are also now coming in the endangered species, so I decided to click it for you. And then I went straight away to the aquarium, and this is the lionfish. I really like this fish a lot, even though it's a poisonous fish, but they are so much graceful and beautiful to look at. And the aquarium is pretty much well maintained. It was nice, clean, and I could see a lot of varieties of fishes. As you can see over here, beautifully planted aquariums with so many water plants and driftwood decorations and small fishes. It was really very beautiful, even though this was also pretty much crowded. And this is the shark tank where you can see those tiny sharks, and there were also some really huge fishes in the aquarium over here. As you can see, a very well maintained aquarium. The fishes are swimming so much peacefully. It was really relaxing to watch these fishes over here. After moving out from the aquarium, we decided to try and see some of the carnivorous animals. As soon as I entered the bear enclosure, I could see two of them playing or fighting. I don't know what they were doing, but it was really fun to watch them fight or play, whatever. And bears are really cute looking. And it's nice that they were outside because it was actually the lunch time and most of the animals were eating food, or either they were just sleeping after eating food. Now this tiger, I don't think it had got its food, so it was roaming around angrily waiting for its food. And on the other hand, in the other enclosures, most of the animals were inside their caves because it was pretty much hot, but this one already had its food. This is a white tiger and it was sleeping peacefully, as you can see over here. And most of the animals were actually not visible at this time because they were resting due to the scorching heat. Most of them had gone inside their caves and they were resting. But as I told you, you can see most of the area is having the shade of trees. Inside the park, since it is a huge park, you can get these maps in between the park and you can see where else you would like to visit. You can also take a guide if you want to visit yourself. Then you can take the help of these maps and you can visit to the areas that you wish to see. And there was also facility of toilets and drinking water. And this one was another tiger that I saw, and it was like walking around, perhaps waiting for its food, and it was looking really ferocious, walking around through its area like this. So I just recorded it moving around. Usually in the daytime most of the animals were sleeping, but one or two of them were there who were still active during this time, and this is one of them. It's walking so much gracefully. And then we walked on to the next enclosure, which was of the elephant, and as usual it was time for them to eat, so they were in their sheds eating their food. Otherwise they would have been roaming around. This is a really huge enclosure for the elephants, and if we would have come in the morning or evening, they would have been roaming around over here. But it was the daytime, and usually during the daytime it's the time of their feed. And over here you can see the reptiles, the crocodiles, they are just sleeping, basking in the sun. And this is a selfie point. I love Nandankanan. You can see the rush of people, and that's a cafeteria where you can have some refreshments if you want, because outside food is not allowed in the park. It's a strict no. And this area is the area where the snakes are kept, but I didn't go in there. And you can see the beautifully decorated dustbins also. And that's the giraffe, but it was eating. Last time when I had visited it, it was walking around so I could take a nice picture, but this time it was eating. And there's another peacock over here. And while we walk on to the next enclosure, let me tell you a little bit about Nandankanan Zoo. It was the first zoo in the country to breed white tiger and melanistic tiger, and also it is the breeding center of the Indian pangolins, which are an endangered species. And over here you can see this is the hippopotamus pond, and I saw one hippo putting its head out from the water and basking in the shade of a tree. And over here is the toy train, which we of course didn't go because I didn't want to sit in the train. And over here you can see the hippopotamus is just sticking its head out and resting over there. And there's another one over in the next part of this pond, but it just went in the water as soon as I wanted to shoot it. And from here, while we walk on to the Kanjia lake for boating, let me tell you a little bit about the melanistic or black striped tigers. They are born because of a genetic drift and they share a rare gene pool. That is, the black stripes are far more prominent than that of the Royal Bengal tigers. And this is the boating area of the Kanjia lake. But our bad luck that the lake had not been cleaned since a long time, and it was full of water hyacinth and water plants, and boating was not possible until the lake would be cleaned. So we couldn't get a chance to do the favorite thing that we do over here, that is boating. But doesn't matter, we'll do that the next time we come. This is the condition of the lake. As you can see, it's full of seaweed and water hyacinth and all these water plants. So unless this is cleaned up, boating is not allowed. And there is also a ropeway over there on top, but that ropeway has been suspended since a long time after a fatal accident. The ropeway facility was stopped for the public. So from here we decided to go back home because we couldn't do the boating. And on our way back there is another bird aviary. As you can see over here, the pathway is strewn with flowers. These are the bougainvillea flowers, and the monkeys etc. are up to mischief as usual. These are actually the langurs, which they just snatch away things from the tourists, so you have to be careful. And from here, as we were going, we came across the beautiful fountain, and the next thing that we saw was a bird aviary in which the seabirds were kept. There was a lot of water and a lot of birds inside. All these birds love the water, and it was like filled up with birds, but because of the net I could not actually shoot properly. But this area was smelling of sea. It was having that sea kind of smell, which I don't really like, so we moved on from there, and our next stop was the beautiful botanical garden, but we didn't enter because that is another huge area, the rose garden and the botanical garden. So just from outside I took a few shots of the botanical garden, but before that let me show you this area where you can sit and relax and click a few pictures. This is a very beautiful place to sit down and relax for some time before you move out. And this is the botanical garden, and during winter times it is filled up with flowers. As you can see over here, there is a huge burst of colors of flowers. It's so beautiful to look at. That's another huge area of this zoo, and I really love this part of the zoo also. And winters is the time which I really like because they have all these seasonal flowers which you don't get to see during the rest of the year. These are especially there during the winter season. So that basically wraps up our tour, and I didn't take the jungle safari this time because last time we had taken and it was like too hot during the daytime to actually do that. And this is actually the exit of the zoo. So from here we went out, and just right next to the zoo you can see there is the car park from where we will take our vehicle and we'll head back home. So this is all about this small tour of our Nandankanan Zoological Park, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.